There's something about the worlds in Ratchet and Clank. Do you feel it? It's hard to put into words, really. I don't think it's any one aspect. The art style, the level design, the environments, none of those really jump out to me as the one thing I particularly love. But they all come together to make it feel special. Today, we're going to take a look at the first chunk of worlds in the game. We'll observe the scenery and vibes of each planet, and along the way, we'll look at some special spots that really stick out to me. Welcome to Video Game World Tours. Novalis is the first main stage of the game. It leaves a strong first impression. There's a lot going on. Ships flying by, buildings on fire, robots attacking. This is the furthest possible thing from peaceful. But it's still kinda calming. The colors are great. You guys know me, I'm a sucker for a classic green grass, blue sky combo. Plus there's a lot of unique vegetation. It's very lively. Before we head down there and explore that side of the stage though, let's turn around and explore this path. If you haven't played this game before, just be ready. There's a lot of industrial areas. And I like the aesthetic they went for with this style. Things are very oversized and cartoony. Look at these thingamabobs. What do you think they do? Oh, up there is a ledge. I'll be honest, I had no idea how to get up there. I can tell on the minimap that it's a hidden spot. One of the later unlocks reveals those. So I knew I was supposed to get up there, I just didn't know how. The game hides its secrets really well, I have to say. Sometimes you won't see them at all, and other times you will see them, but you just don't know how to reach them. I only realized how to get up there while writing this. Genuinely, I was about to leave the room when I did a wall jump and remembered that was a thing I could do, so I hopped back and forth and got up there. There's usually nothing super interesting in these golden bolt spots, but just because of the fact they're so hard to reach is usually enough to make them memorable to me. Past a couple bigger rooms, we reach the spot I wanted to show off. There's a room with glass windows all around it. It's a nice change of pace from the claustrophobic metal rooms leading up to this. And looking out, you get a great view of the rest of the stage. For some reason, I assumed this window was facing away from the stage, that all that stuff was back that way. Not a big deal or anything, just a weird assumption on my part that was wrong. Well, you know what they say about assuming. Let's take the water slide down. Whee! Jumping down. And let me kill all the bad guys real quick. They're vibe ruiners for sure. There we go. Isn't that much better? I guess maybe I wasn't giving the art style enough credit in the intro. Look at those trees. They're fun. And the cascading rocks along the wall here. They took an aesthetic we're all familiar with and put their own little twist on it. This feels uniquely Ratchet and Clank to me. What I want to show off though is in the water. There's a strong current that pushes you down, so you can't swim upstream. But partway through the game, you get a hydro pack that lets you speed through water. So let's see what's been hiding from us since the beginning of the game. This way obviously has something. Turns out it's a small little cave system. The only majorly interesting thing in here is this room. I don't even know how to describe it. This looks like a place you'd fight a nasty, toxic boss or something. But there's just some goo dudes chilling in here. Well, not anymore. I killed them. This was their home. Then I showed up. Heading back outside, there's another stream for you to take. Where it leads isn't obvious at first, and it takes a while to go this way considering you're swimming upstream. I was excited to see what my effort would be rewarded with. Maybe not a golden bolt, but I'd take like 24 crates. It's always fun to break those. Huh, there's nothing. Just a waterfall. And not even a platform to stand on. I kinda like this spot just for how much the level designers didn't care about it. It seems like they genuinely never thought you'd come this way. Not even a couple bolts to find up here. It's almost like they trolled you. I love it. The next planet is Iridia. Not as welcoming as Novalis. an industrial area in the distance, sludge all over, and sand beneath your feet. I'd consider myself a connoisseur of sand textures. I can really appreciate and savor a good one. This is pretty good. It has the right colors and just enough ripples to resonate with me. Top tier texture right here. The first spot I want to look at is actually at one of the ends of the stage. So you go through this whole factory down here, climb up to reach Skid McMark's agent, and then come back later once you've beaten a hoverboard race. Just off to the side though are these paths leading up. Using an item you get later in the game, the Magna Boots, you can walk right up onto the ledge above. Big ass spooky death ray. It even has a little internal space you can walk through. When I first came through here, there was a golden bolt and some boxes. Now it's just empty. You see that a lot in these levels. Spaces that initially felt so lived in feel so empty once you destroy all the boxes and collect all the things. It creates a weird, lonely vibe. Some crates do respawn though, like the one circling the death ray. Unfortunately, you can't destroy this thing, which I don't mind. I kinda like basking in the green glow here. When I came back to this planet after collecting the item that reveals secret areas on the minimap, it showed that that whole landmass is actually traversable. Which is funny, because I definitely tried to get over there my first time here. I remember sitting at this spot and trying to make a jump past the right side of the fence, but I fell down, so I gave up and just moved on. Turns out, you have a small grace period after jumping in the sludge where you can jump again. You can make it over there very easily if you do that. Kinda like the waterfall path we looked at in Novalis, this feels like a spot they didn't really expect you to spend a lot of time in. While there is a golden bolt to collect, there's no enemies or crates. You get in and out. But what about this thing? It's so cute. Huh. I thought it would pick me up. Well, you know what they say about assuming. Down this path are a couple of spooky spots. I call this one the Poo Room. I'll let you guess why. This room is actually genuinely pretty spooky. Red is such an intimidating color, and there's so much of it here. It's been a while since I played it, but this reminded me of the end of Metal Gear Solid 4 with all the heat. Do you think Ratchet is cooking right now? Kerwin is our next planet. This is a straight banger. I love the look of this stage. First of all, I love to see Insomniac's take on a futuristic city. They have the Star Wars prequel flying cars zipping about, as well as all this beautiful architecture. Also, we're really high up. They build these buildings tall. Looking down, it reminds me of the first Spider-Man game on the GameCube, where you couldn't swing around on the city streets. What I wouldn't give to see the streets of Kerwin. My right leg, I need that. A sizable chunk of this stage is a training course for you to complete. Just off to the side of one of the islands though, you might notice a stack of boxes. Breakable boxes. So that's a traversable area over there. The only way I can think to reach it is by going high up and gliding over. That's a big jump. Think I can make it? I feel like I always overestimate my jumping abilities in this game, so I genuinely don't know if I can. Pray for me. Oh, thank God. And I want you to know, I had restraint here. I scout out spots in my videos before recording footage, so what you're seeing on screen right now is my second visit to this spot. It took an insane amount of self-control to not destroy these boxes. It's just so satisfying. There were spots I wanted to show off for this video that included big chunks of boxes that are now empty because I couldn't contain myself. But I did here. I wanted you to see just how satisfying it is to break all these and collect so many juicy bolts. Savor this. Whew, that felt good. Alright, let's move on. This doesn't seem right. Guess there's a bit of geometry that's not supposed to be here. I'll just, Ooh, really shouldn't be in here. Okay, there we go. Oh, I can show you what I was just talking about. On this ledge is a secret area that hides a golden bowl. I already collected it and destroyed the boxes. It's so empty now. There are a few boxes that respawn, but it's a fraction of the initial amount. It's just not the same as when it was loaded with them. But it does have its own charm, being so barren and all. I particularly like this little hallway with lampposts on both sides. It's quaint. Also, this area with the trees. It's cute too. The final spot I want to shout out for this stage is the train platform towards the end. It's not even that special, I just dig its vibes. I can't even explain why. No one thing really sticks out to me. It just feels right. Do you feel like that sometimes? Where you'll find a spot and it'll really resonate with you, but you can't quite explain why. I need to know if I'm crazy here. Let me know what you think in the comments. Eudora is a chill forest planet. It's very reminiscent of Novalis with all these trees and rocks. You'd almost be forgiven for thinking this is the same planet. I won't complain. I dig this vibe. I'm down for more of it. I don't have much to show off on this stage though. While most of the stages are fun to play through in this game, a couple of them are lacking when it comes to super interesting spots, at least the type of spots I look for. I do like this section partway through the forest path. These platforms in the trees remind me of the Ewok village from Return of the Jedi. It's a shame these guys aren't Ewoks. I'd have loved to beat them senseless. And the only other spots I have here are some buildings partway through. What's the purpose of these? Like, okay, here's the whole building. You can see all of it from here. It's not like it's an entrance to an expansive compound or something. You walk in and walk right out. I don't get it. Where's the use of a structure like this? It's just so weird. Wait, you see that? There's some open geometry on that ledge right there. That's embarrassing. I hope someone got fired for that blunder. Nebula G34 sees you visiting a space station. Like most stages, this one has a couple of paths for you to go down. One of them sees you venturing outside the station as just Clank, but if you come back after you get the O2 mask, you can walk around as Ratchet. It's funny to see the scale of this place, considering it was very obviously designed for Clank. But was this space actually used in-world by a smaller creature? Like, it makes sense for stuff to be too big when you're Clank, considering you're a tiny robot, but it's actually perfectly sized for him. It's too small for Ratchet, and he's relatively short compared to other beings in this universe. It seems like these ship seats would fit him though. But look at this walkway. There's no way a being his size should be expected to walk on this. Someone needs to get in contact with OSHA. The next spot I want to show off is one I can't visit right now. One of the objectives has you visiting a Blarg warship and setting off a self-destruction sequence. Once it explodes, you cannot revisit it, obviously. True Predizens know these are my favorite spots. Ones that once you leave, you can never return. Even if this spot itself isn't that meaningful, the exclusivity helps it stand out. Unfortunately, you don't get to see it. Only I do. In my memories. The final spot in this stage is the boss room. I always love coming back and exploring boss rooms after the fact. The way they're so big and empty. Guess it's not empty. That genuinely caught me off guard. So much stuff in this game doesn't respawn on return visits. I definitely didn't expect a boss to come back. Let me just... There we go. I dig this room. This game has such strong lighting. They aren't afraid to bathe the room in just one color. I can't say for certain because it's been a while since I played, but I bet the remake toned this down a lot. Okay, they just completely changed the boss. I forgot the remake was like that sometimes. Also, as I was looking up that footage, I remembered that there was a Ratchet & Clank movie released around this time. That was kinda crazy. Should I watch it? I never watched it back in the day. Regardless, cool room. Rilgar. Rilgar? Ralgar? Ralgar is an awesome planet. Its defining feature are the city areas you can visit. Like with Kerwin, I love seeing Insomniac's vision for cities in this universe. Also, it's funny that there's this city street area, but there's no doors. Well, except for one that leads underground. Outside of that, it's completely enclosed. I bet the remake has doors. Modern developers are obsessed with making sure worlds are thought out like that. And no, I'm not gonna look it up to check. I don't think the lack of doors makes this level bad or anything. It's just fun to take notice of that stuff sometimes. See what details kinda slip by if you're not paying attention as a player. A bit later in the level is a park where you can enter a hoverboard race. I love this spot. It's so charming. It's almost like a park you'd see in the real world. Sitting here and gazing out at the night sky would be peaceful, if not for all the warships zooming by. Just through here is a little space that houses Captain Quark's trailer. You can't go in, unfortunately. Also, this is like too small for him, right? I don't remember the cutscene exactly, but Quark would have to at least duck his head down to enter this. That can't be comfortable. This is a nice space too. I'm always a fan of unusually empty spots. And still, no doors to these buildings. There's this, which almost looks like a door, but it reads to me as more of a window. Maybe instead of needing exterior doors to access these buildings from outside, they're all connected on the interior. Like, there's one door somewhere that grants you access to labyrinthine hell that is the city interior of Ralgar. Just a theory. A game theory? Perchancebly. Umbris is the next planet to visit, and it's not really as interesting as the others. Rather than feeling like a living world you can explore, it's more like a linear combat gauntlet that you progress through. Look at this map. There's no branching paths like you'd usually find on these planets. I don't really remember any interesting spots in this stage, but we'll go through it anyway. My memory isn't the best these days. Nah. Ooh, empty building. I genuinely can't remember if there was a weapon pickup in here or anything. Seems like there would have been. Or at least a bunch of crates that don't respawn. Definitely nothing in that area. That was an annoying section to get through, especially when you're low on health. Ladder time.
What a thrill, with darkness and silence through the night.
Nothing. Guess we're already at the boss room. Oh, thank God, the boss doesn't respawn. That's great. I'd hate to have to fight him again just to show this room off, though there isn't much to show. I do appreciate the scale. A large, peaceful boss room is always a sight to behold. Aw, but you can't go through the door at the end. Absolutely tragic. Huh. I just noticed something. If you're low on health, do the boost jump thing, and then reset the stick to neutral, you glide a bit. And you do have to reset to neutral. If you don't, you just start walking forward. But when you do release the stick, you glide. Do people know that? I'm assuming this glitch has been documented, and I'm not really sure if it increases your total movement speed throughout a level anyway, so I don't imagine it's useful. What was I making a video about again? Oh yeah, showing off planets. Let's visit planet Batalia. Another planet with some infrastructure. I love the tiny buildings at the beginning here. Just look at how compact they are, and there's absolutely nothing inside them, except for some boxes. Were these really just built as box storage buildings? Or did they perhaps have another purpose in the past? While I was writing the script, I came across a door I forgot to open with a trespasser. Behind the locked door, I found a couple of beautiful crate collections. I thought I'd wait to destroy it until I was recording so we could all appreciate this together. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. The stage transforms into this jungle environment. After making some tricky jumps, you can collect a golden bolt. There would be one right here, but I already got it. I like this spot, gazing out at the northeastern sea. This path culminates in— ooh, random building. This path culminates in you reaching a walled city. And this is explicitly described as a walled city. The mission menu declares it so. But does this look like much of a city to you? Maybe this is one of those scale theory things, where the world you physically see is only a representation of what actually exists in universe. Like, this actually is a city to Ratchet and everyone, but it seems like a small little outpost to us, the viewer. Probably not. That made more sense for something like Ocarina of Time. I don't really buy it with this game. We have one more spot to visit. I always throw the wrench when I get on platforms like this to see how long I can keep it flying. I like Ratchet's goofy face during the throw. Can't get enough of it. Okay, there's this whole rail grinding section. It's kinda awkward at first, but you get used to the controls. It reminds me of the old school minecart sections in Donkey Kong Country, only much more forgiving. At the very end is a lonely platform, completely separated from the outside world, perched, 100 feet? A couple hundred feet? However many 100 feet above the water below. So isolated. Oh, over there is the stack of boxes that was next to the golden bolt. I think it's funny how they placed it so that it'd block most of it, but I bet the golden glow still poked out from the sides. They wanted you to notice it, but not make it too obvious. And that's that. The first half of levels in the game. Let me know if you want a part 2 where I explore the second half. And if you guys like that, I'll probably even check out the later games in the series. The only Ratchet and Clank game I played before this was the PS4 remake. I loved that, and I love this. I need more. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a water slide to get back to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Whee!